Okay, my name is Taylor Nickel, and this is for Lesson Module 8 with the lesson plan title being Multiple Strategy Instruction. The objective is for students to be able to coordinate strategies to guide comprehension. The grade level I'm working with is 3rd grade. The schedule is daily, with the recommended group size being whole class, small group, or pairs. So today we're going to be learning about collaborative strategic reading. Collaborative means that we'll work together to read, and strategic reading means to plan a design to help understand and remember what you read. So before we read our story, we're going to preview it, scan it, brainstorm what we know, and predict what we think will happen. And while we're reading, you're going to clink and clunk things together and get the gist of the whole story. And after we read, we're going to wrap it up and you're going to answer some questions and then we'll review them, okay? So I'll have you look over the story, okay? There's 4 pages. So before we start, we'll look at in the text box. Have you seen any of these? Are you familiar with any of these words and what they mean?
A few.
A few of them. Which ones do you know?
Hurricane, blankets, and crew and television.
Okay. Do you know what a hurricane is?
It's a really bad storm.
Do you know what brilliant means? That's what this one is. Brilliant. Are you unsure of that one?
Unsure.
Okay. Well, while you're reading through it, you can use the other words around it to figure out what it means, okay? And did you know what interviewer means? It means someone that asks questions to find out more information, okay? Okay. Did you look at the pictures while you were looking too?
Yes.
Did you see any pictures that you think might involve the story? That might help you figure out what's going to happen in the story?
That some people are going to interview them.
Interview them? Okay, so we're going to read, and while you're reading, there are clinks and clunks. A clink is something that you already know, like the word you already know, so you won't have to use the other stuff around to figure it out. And a clunk is when you're unsure of a word or the meaning of the word, like brilliant or interviewer, and you can use your vocabulary strategies while reading to figure out the word. And by the end of the story, you should get the gist of it and know what's going on and how to summarize it in detail. So now you can begin reading.
Mr. Kent's students were very concerned about a hurricane that had just happened in Mexico. It had gotten very windy. The wind blew trees over and damaged houses. After the wind, there was heavy rains. Houses and streets were flooded. The class spoke about what it would be like in Mexico. They discussed how the houses and all the things inside would be ruined. Ava said, people would need clothes. They'll need new blankets to keep warm. Melanie added, my sister has a ton of clothes. We should send those to Mexico, said Brett, thinking of how upset his sister would be to come home to an empty closet. Brett, that's brilliant, said Ava. It is, replied Brett, who didn't think he had ever said anything brilliant. Yes, it is, exclaimed Ava with excitement. You, your sister, Melanie, and I, and everyone else in the school can bring in our extra clothes and blankets to send to Mexico. We all have lots of stuff, and now they need some of it. Let's do it, Melanie said. My mom has a whole closet full of blankets. We don't need that many. The classroom was buzzing with chatter as the students talked to Mr. Kent about how they could collect clothes and blankets. Some kids were going to make signs that said, "Blanket Drive." Other kids were writing a new settler. Everyone was going to ask their friends and relatives for old clothes and blankets. Brett was put in charge of stacking all the clothes and blankets in the gym. Everyone was excited, except Brett. "Am I going to have to miss recess for this?" Brett said, groaning. "Maybe this isn't such a brilliant idea." All week long, students brought in clothes and blankets. News of the blanket drive spread, and people living all over the city brought in more clothes and blankets. Even Brett was impressed by how generous people were. Everyone in town was talking about the blanket drive. The local television station sent a new camera crew to the school. The reporter wanted to know whose ideas this was. They found Brett in the gym. Behind them, thousands of blankets and pieces of clothing were stacked almost to the ceiling. The interviewer asked Brett, "This was a brilliant idea. You must be very proud of yourself for thinking of it." Brett looked at the mountain of clothes behind him and then looked back at the camera. "No, it wasn't a brilliant idea," Brett said thoughtfully. "We had a lot of stuff, and those people in Mexico really needed some of it. We're just trying to help. It's simple."
Good job. So can you tell me what the story was about?
These kids in a class, they were trying to give blankets and clothes to people in Mexico because a hurricane just happened.
Were they giving all their clothes away or just some of them?
Some of them that they didn't need.
Good job. Okay, so I'll go ahead and I have just a couple questions, okay? Try to do it without the paper, but if you need it, you can
Okay.
look through it, okay?
Does it matter about spelling?
It just sound it out the best you can, okay? Do you know how to do these true false ones?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll go through them, okay? Then we'll go through the ones if you missed them. But
Okay.
That's looking pretty good. Good job. You didn't miss any. And you didn't even look to check your answers. So that's all we'll have to do today, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.